turned on to 3 lanes of oncoming traffic. Guess who's back and better than ever? Hi. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about my traumatic driving experiences. For only driving for nearly 3 years now, there's been quite a few. As you can see, today's video is car themed, so I thought, why not film it in my car, sitting in my driveway while people are looking at me, just for a bit of change of scenery. So I'm just hoping the lighting cooperates. Oh, if anyone comes and walks past, they're gonna be like, what are you doing? As I spoke about in my get to know me video, I was talking about my driving lessons. There are quite a few traumatic driving lessons. First of all, I'm going to talk to you about my first driving test, which I failed. After nearly a year of lessons, I finally put in for my driving test in September 2017. So I was just turning 18 in a few weeks, and I thought that I was ready. Like, at one point it just all clicked. For ages I had it in my head that I just couldn't drive, and it was something I just couldn't do. And then one day it just clicked, and I was like, why did I ever find this hard? So I thought I was ready for this test. So it got to the day of the test. I think my test was at like 8 in the morning. It was really, really early. Or else maybe it was at like 11 and I had to meet him at 8 or something because I had to do a lesson beforehand. So I got to the test centre. It was all fine. So then 5 minutes into my test, the examiner had to intervene. So basically there was a bus parked in front of me, like at a bus stop. I tried to overtake it. Obviously didn't leave myself enough space. The examiner reached across me to my steering wheel and went like that and like steered me completely out of the way, and I was like, right, that's it, I failed. So then continued with the rest of my test. I think it's unfair that like if you know you failed and they know that you failed, that you have to finish your test anyway. I hate that. I just think it's unfair. I was like, right, I failed. So I continued my test. He was talking to me about future plans and whatnot, and I was like, please shut up, like, you know I failed. So then like later on in my test, I like bumped into a curb. Didn't think much of it because I was like, I failed anyway, so it's fine. I got back to the test centre. It was like, unfortunately on this occasion you've failed, or whatever they said. I immediately burst into tears. I got into my mum and dad's car. They met me there. It's just so awkward, like having to face my instructor and all that, and I was just so upset. I booked in for a week. I just made like a silly mistake, so we went over my mistakes or whatever. Clearly wasn't really listening because I was that upset. The next Friday I went in for my test again. That whole week I went thinking that I had failed that test because of that bus. It turns out that I failed the test because I mounted that curb. So the examiner actually must have been quite dead on. Dead on means sound for those that aren't from Northern Ireland. I've had to explain that so many times to people that aren't from here. So yeah, I failed because I mounted the curb. He literally had to reach over my steering wheel and steer me out of the way, and he wrote that down as a minor, and my major or serious or whatever it was mounting a curb, because to be fair, if there was a pedestrian they would have been dead. The next week went in for my test. That was fine. 5 minutes into my second test I bumped into a curb, and I was like, right, that's it, I failed again. So I think like my mentality the rest of that test was that I had failed, so I kind of was just like in a bad mood. It was like, right, what's the point? So I just continued, finished that test. That was fine. Pulled into the test centre. All my manoeuvres and all were fine. Like I think in both my tests I got a 3-point turn and possibly a bay park. The manoeuvres weren't too bad. I got back into the car park at the test centre, and he was like completely expecting to fail. He was like, happy to say you've passed, and I was like, are you joking? I literally was like, seriously? Like I couldn't believe it, because I thought that I'd done the exact same mistake that I'd done the last time and like bumped the curb. Apparently it's if you actually like put your wheel like over the curb. But yeah, I had passed, and oh my god, I was so happy. Like I got straight out, hugged my instructor. He made me sit in his car and get this really awkward picture, which I will insert. And I was like, finally, like it was just such a pressure off. Like I actually thought I was never going to pass my driving test. I just found it so difficult. So I was so happy. So I can't remember exactly when this was. It wasn't long after I passed my test. I think it was maybe a couple of months. I was running late for work as it was. I went to park, and I'm the type of person, like, see, since my test, like I just haven't done a reverse park. I just find it really hard. I think I left it that long that I completely forgot how to do it. So I just would like drive into spaces, and I know like a lot of people would say reverse parking's easier, but I just don't find it easier. I was driving into this parking space, and 2 seconds later I hear this like bump on the left side of my car, and I'm like, oh my god. I obviously thought I had a lot more room than I had and turned in way too early. I ended up wedged against this other car's headlight. So imagine I was driving in this way, the car was obviously facing that way. So my car, this is like the front of their car, right? And this is my passenger door. This is the front of their car. it was like this and I couldn't move. I immediately burst into tears. I was like, if I move, like, I know I'm going to cause this so much more damage. I rang my dad and was like, oh my god, can you please come and help me? Luckily I only live like 5-10 minutes away from work, so they were just able to drive down, but I was crying. I had people come up to me and like, are you okay? Like, is there anything I can do to help? I was like, no, I don't know what to do. Mom and dad came down. Dad had to literally lift my car, and then I had to wait for the person to come out of the shop to tell them what had happened. They were actually quite nice about it. They were like, accidents happen, took down the details. Gladly my mom and dad were there, otherwise I wouldn't have had a clue what to do. Had only been driving, like, it was less than 6 months anyway after I passed my test. Yeah, so then I had to apologise like so many times. I felt so awkward, like I had to say sorry like 200 times. Turns out that the damages on the front of her car were £200. I had to obviously pay that back. My mum and dad paid that for me, and then I paid them like monthly back because I couldn't have afforded that. And I didn't want to claim on my insurance obviously because it was like the first year, and my premium would have went up to like here. Premium, is that what you got? So didn't do it through insurance. Luckily she was quite nice. My car wasn't too bad. There was a wee tiny dent on the passenger door. It wasn't a good start. So the main part of this video that I'm sure you are all wondering about by the thumbnail and the title, crashing into a lorry. This happened when I was living in Scotland for uni. I'd stayed over at Carrick's the night before, and I was driving to uni, and I dropped him off to work on the way because he hadn't passed his test yet. And I had come off this big roundabout. Do you know that one of those ones where there's like a roundabout immediately after, so you do need to think about like what lane to get into? I came off that big roundabout in the left lane, and I was wanting to go straight on the next roundabout. Didn't realise that the left lane was a left only. I realised like halfway down the lane that I was in the wrong lane, but the right lane was completely full of cars. Like, it was just my worst nightmare, like worst possible scenario. I was just like, right, I've done it before, I'm just gonna chance it here. If it's clear, I'm just gonna go. So I bailed onto this roundabout in the left lane. The left lane was only meant for turning left into this car park, and the right lane was to go straight on. I got onto this roundabout. 2 seconds later, I look in my wing mirror and I see this 50 foot, 40 foot, whatever, Boal lorry closing in on me, and I literally was like, oh my god. I just get this big smash into my driver's side. It was actually like the wee panel behind my driver's door. It was a different car, it wasn't this one that I'm in at the minute. Smashed into the side. I just didn't know what to do. Burst into tears. Came off that roundabout. Thankfully my car didn't flip. Like, honestly, I was so lucky. It could have been a lot worse, or like my window smashed or something. If he had been like 2 centimeters forward, my whole window would have smashed. It could have been so much worse. He starts beeping and flashing me, and I'm like, I'm obviously gonna pull over. I'm not just gonna drive on. I was obviously just waiting for somewhere safe to pull in. Pulled in at this wee lay-by at the side. Immediately he gets out, starts screaming at me, swearing at me. I was crying my eyes out. And then of course when he saw how young I wasn't young, I was like 19. He's like, what the that's a left only lane, how do you not know that's a left only lane? I was crying, and then 2 seconds later he's like, are you okay?
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get in.
I was like, I'm not from around here. And he was like, what, are you here on holiday? And I was like, Dad, look, I'm here on holiday, like I'm obviously here for uni. I don't know the area. I kind of did know the area, I just didn't know that roundabout. And he was like, are you okay? Blah, blah, blah. I got back in my car anyway, rung Carrick, who had just dropped off to work. He was a 5-minute walk away. He had been in work no more than 5 minutes. He sprinted to the scene. He ended up speaking to the lorry driver. I was in such a state. I was like, just leave it. Because you know the way, like, no one ever prepares you for a car crash. Like, they tell you to give your insurance details and to keep like a wee book and pen in your glove compartment. But apart from that, like, no one really prepares you for what to do in that situation. How I got there, he ended up talking to him while I was in the car, trying to ring my mum and dad, who I rang at least 3 times before one of them answered. You literally ring them for the most pointless things and they answer in 2 seconds, and then when you actually need them, like, could have been dead, don't answer. So I finally rang back and I was like, what do I do? Whenever my mum answered the phone as well, I was like, I've been hit by a lorry. And she was like, you literally could have given a bit of context. Like, it sounded like I as a pedestrian got hit by a lorry, but no, I meant like it was my fault. The accident happened and I got crashed into by a lorry. And they're like, give your insurance details, it's in the glove box. So I went and handed it to the guy. Stood for 15 minutes with him. He was like, the stuff that I need's not on here. Like, it should have been a pretty easy process, like give your insurance details, sort that. Luckily Carrick was there to calm me down, because I would have just been, I was nearly at the point of having a panic attack. It was awful, like I could barely breathe. Carrick and this guy were looking at the lorry for damages, and Carrick said there wasn't a mark on the lorry. The guy couldn't even find where I had hit him. He was like, I can't just leave it, I've got a dash cam, like it'll look like a hit and run if I don't do anything about it. Like, bearing in mind my insurance was gonna go sky high again. Mum and dad finally answered, gave him the documents, he got what he needed, that was fine. I was absolutely petrified to drive after that. Like, obviously I wrote into uni and said that I wasn't going in. I was meant to be going to a seminar and all. Got back to Carrick's. I can't remember whether he had to go back to work or not, or whether his manager let him stay off for like the circumstances. But I just got straight into bed and just started crying and crying and crying. It was awful. I was absolutely terrified to drive after that. I don't think I drove for like possibly like a week or something like that. I can't remember, but I just didn't want to drive. Like, you don't want to get back in the driver's seat after something like that happens. And obviously, like, I was in Scotland, like my mum and dad couldn't just come to the rescue and come and see if I was okay. Like, I was on my own. Luckily Carrick was there. Like, if I didn't have him, I honestly would have been a mess. So yeah, that was my traumatic experience with the lorry. Luckily we never heard anything about it again. He obviously didn't claim. He must have explained to his company or whatever what had happened, and explained that I was young, because like I probably wouldn't have got insured after that again. I have became a way more cautious driver. Like, I feel like the first year I kind of didn't really think things through. Like, I remember in the first week of driving, I had to catch myself on 2 seconds before entering a roundabout anti-clockwise. I was about to go round the other way and I realised at the last second, I was like, what am I doing? I'm such an idiot. I don't know, I still am a really nervous driver. I don't enjoy driving at all really, unless it's like clear roads. Moral of the story is, get into the correct lane before you enter a roundabout. Don't chance it like I did, because you'll probably get crashed into and it'll be your fault entirely. Next story I'm going to talk to you about is the time that I got clamped. I got this new car last August. It's a Citroen DS3. It's a diesel, and for some reason I think it says that it doesn't need to be taxed or something like that. I can't remember exactly when this was, but I've been driving it about for a good few months. One morning, again on my way to uni, Carrick was at work. I walk out to my car. Carrick lives on quite a busy road, so I was like just waiting to pull out, was looking for space to get out. Whenever I went to go, my car wouldn't move. I was like, is my handbrake on? Like, what's going on? Then 2 seconds later I look and there's this big yellow notice on my windscreen. I get out, untaxed vehicle, don't attempt to move this car. There's a big clamp on my wheel. Burst into tears again. This wasn't actually my fault. I thought everything with my new car was sorted. Like, I know I should be a lot more independent and start like taking responsibility for my own car, but like my dad does it all for me. Like, thankfully I'm really lucky that way. So yeah, I rang my dad and he was like, what do you mean? Like, how can it be on tax? They told me it was exempt from tax. Basically, you still need to like register it as being taxed, even if it's like a 0% tax or something. Obviously couldn't go to uni. Luckily I had a key to get into Carrick's house. Otherwise I would have been locked outside, nowhere to go. Rang my mum. Mum rang up the tax company. She had to pay like £120 or something like that. They came within a couple of hours and took it off. Gladly, like, I wasn't there. It would have been so awkward. I'm just really unlucky when it comes to cars. I've just remembered another thing. I've never driven in Belfast by myself. I just cannot do cities, like all the different lanes and all that. So my friend Adele, who went to school in Belfast, so she like knew back roads and all, she came with me. So drove up these back roads, that was fine. Got to Belfast, went to Victoria Square or whatever. We were in Belfast city centre and Adele was like, right, turn right here. So I turned right and she was like, no, Lucie, I meant up the road. I thought you knew that's what I meant. I turned on to 3 lanes of oncoming traffic. Luckily they were at a red light. There was these builders at the side of the road pissing themselves laughing. I had to just go up the curb on the right and I was like, Adele, you can drive. Like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I feel like it's one of those things that you need to just throw yourself in the deep end as soon as you pass, or else you're just going to be scared of it. And I think I'm beyond the point now of actually being able to do it. I just hate it. Like, even if maps were on, I just think, like, I know sometimes it does tell you what lanes to get into, but the way like roads like curve around like that and all, I know I would end up merging into the wrong lane or something, getting into a crash. So yeah, 3 lanes of oncoming traffic. Could have been driving at a normal speed and go have a full-on like head-on collision. So Adele was like driving my car, like it was a completely different car to hers. She had no idea how to work it, but it was so funny. I have too many car related stories. I've just remembered another one. One night my friend Alana was at my house and I went out to the car to drop her home. I don't know why I did this, but I just didn't even look behind me, because like whenever I parked there was nothing behind me obviously. My dad had came home and I didn't realise. I reversed straight into the front of his car and he should have seen the dent in it. I'm so lucky like I have sound parents, because if I didn't I would be in so much trouble like all the time. I don't know why they let me have a car. It's just so much more hassle than it's worth and so much money. He literally came out and was like, he was laughing about it, like he was like, what have you done? And I was just like, I actually don't know, I just didn't look behind me. But yeah, if you see me on the roads, beware, don't get too close, because I can't be trusted. So yeah, that's the end of my stories for today. I can laugh about it now, but at the time I was absolutely traumatized. It was awful. Thought I was never going to get over it. Hopefully you enjoyed it and you found it entertaining. Thank you so much to everyone that subscribed so far. I actually appreciate it so much. If you would like some more story times, just comment below because I'm sure I could think of quite a few stories. Thanks for watching and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, why is it making that noise? So I got to the day, it was quite oh my god, it's just cutting the grass. This is too awkward. My dad really does take his time and he's like, why does he have to cut the grass right now? Now you can oh my god. I'll just turn my wipers on too. I'm off this road that was a 60 that went directly into like a 30. I flew over a mini roundabout. It went up in the air and smashed back down again. Oh, Dad. Guess who's back? Back again. Lucie's back. Tell a friend. Oh, this is how silent it would have been.